Hello and welcome to the Philippines. I experienced the largest earthquake that I've ever experienced this morning, standing at the kitchen counter. And at first I thought I was dizzy, kind of swaying around a little bit. And then I realized it was an earthquake, and it seemed like it lasted quite a while. Probably in reality, 5, 10 seconds, something like that. But anyway, I have some information on the quake. It happened up by Masbate, Leyte, Samar, and we many people felt it here in Cebu City as well. So I've got some information. A guy show you a site where a guy is pretty good at predicting these types of things. In fact, I think he predicted one in the Philippines. And anyway, got some a little bit of pictures about some of the damage up in that area also. Just a couple of pictures I found online, so it did definitely do some damage up there. Sure that did not do any damage here in Cebu City. It's 8:20 a.m. here on August 18th here in Cebu City, Cebu, the Philippines. Anyway, we just had I felt this earthquake. Thought I was dizzy. I was standing up at the kitchen counter, and I thought I was getting lightheaded and dizzy. And it is the longest and hardest earthquake that I have felt, and it's over on Samar. It's over a couple islands to the east here. The USGS has it pegged at a 6.9. This one here, LastQuake, they have it pegged at 6.6. I think they use an European uh, agency there, and I did not check Philvolks here in the Philippines yet. I will check their site too to get a little more information, but I'm sure, I mean, it just happened. And it's unusual. I've heard a couple of years ago I felt a couple. I felt one was just a quick jerk, not very big at all. It's like, what was that? And I felt one other one. I think in 2015, I was sitting in my chair, kind of relaxing, and just a real slight movement. And there again, I'm wondering what was that? But this one was no doubt what it was. It was, and I reported it here. I did this. I felt the earthquake. It was a swaying, and it lasted. I'm guessing, these things always seem like they're longer than they really are. 5 to 10 seconds, something like that. Doesn't seem very long unless you're experiencing it. So anyway, probably not very much information out here yet. Let's go over here to the USGS, see what they say. I think they've got it. Oh, they downgraded. They had a 6.9 here just a little bit earlier. But here are your fault zones, your major fault zones, and I will give you some information about a guy who does quite a bit of earthquake predicting. Dutchsinse, some of you know about him. Does a pretty good job of USGS people apparently don't like him very well. They claim his methods do not work, but in fact I've watched many of his videos over many months, and he's pretty accurate. And anyway, here's Cebu down here, Cebu City. So actually, they have it listed as Samar. This is Samar Island. This is Samar. This is Leyte. This is Bohol. This is Cebu, and this is Cebu City right here. So we had an earthquake just not very far out of a real small one, like a 3, just on the outskirts, I think, up in the mountains, I believe, here, in the last month or so. And I don't think, usually you don't feel anything like that. They may have had, I'm not sure, they may have had little landslides, something like that, up there in the mountains. Bohol has had right in this area in Bohol, back in 2013, they had like a 7.2. It did some damage, and very little damage. I think there were 2 buildings that were damaged. One was a convention center in Mandawi City, which is kind of like a twin city to Cebu City. And that place, I think it's in the process of being demolished presently. They're trying to decide what to do with it. But it had some damage, and then there was some other building that had some damage. But other than that, they shut down all construction back in 2013 and did a lot of engineering checking and everything. And the buildings really held up very well. 7.2 is pretty strong. So anyway, this earthquake up here, but you will find that Bohol will get a few earthquakes, and damaged back in 2013, damaged a lot of the old churches in this area. You occasionally, because I do follow these sites, you get a few earthquakes over here, and in Samar over here, out here on off in this area, closer to the rim, and then let's move down here. This Davao region down here, you will get a few earthquakes. I think a couple of years ago they had a 2 or 4 story older shopping center collapse, killed a few people down here. But I've had a number of people comment and say, I'm afraid of earthquakes. And, they're happening all along the west coast of the USA. They're having more in Oklahoma, Texas. They had one, where was it? They had the strongest one up over on the East Coast here about a week ago. And there again, this guy had predicted that they were moving that direction. And they had one up, I think even up in Canada on the East Coast in the last week or so. Now over here to Philvolks. They handle the volcanoes and earthquakes here in the Philippines. And they have it listed as 6.5. As you can see here, the list goes down. 18th, these all occurred on August 18th, today. But most of them are small. Anything below a 3, generally, very unlikely that you're going to feel that. And there's Philvolks, which stands for Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, and that's their map there. Information: expecting damage, yes. Expecting aftershocks, yes. I did look out. I went out on the balcony to see if anybody was leaving, getting out of their homes, getting out of their condos, and there is nobody out on the street. I don't think it didn't scare me quite that bad. I just took a walk out. I walked out to out on my balcony, and I walked out in the hallway and checked to see if there was any people were leaving this condo, other condos, and if you're moving, if you're walking, riding in a vehicle, that type of thing, you probably never even felt it. But I'm standing, it's quiet in here, I'm standing at the kitchen counter, and definitely even not only felt it, felt the swing, felt like I was dizzy. And but I heard it, and I think I could hear, maybe it was the furniture as the building swayed just a little bit. That sounds scary. But these buildings I've been told by many realtors over the years that a lot of these buildings are built to take up to an 8 or 8.2. That's huge. Don't know if that's fact or not. Don't know if there are many different types of earthquakes, and it's still it's an evolving science, and you never know for sure what the Earth is going to do, what it's going to throw at you. So it's pretty difficult to design properly for everything. I think Japan has probably the best engineering designs for earthquakes. I've read a number of times, even recently, that even though like Los Angeles, San Francisco, areas have retrofitted many of their buildings, some of their buildings. It's still not nearly up to the quality level earthquake resistance that is in Japan, and that if there was a major uh, 7, 5, 8, something like that, there would be huge damage, thousands of deaths probably. I have felt, I think, 3 earthquakes when I lived in California. You get regular earthquakes down in this area, down in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and they've got several. They've got a volcano down here. I forgot, not sure exactly where it was. It blew a big bunch of ash up about a week ago, I think, and I was wondering if we were going to get some of that ash in as the southwest monsoon southwest winds are coming up through this way. I was wondering if we were going to get some of that ash in the Philippines. When I first moved here in 2015, there were peat fires in Indonesia and Malaysia, and it was very hazy for a couple of months, very hazy. And I asked people, "Where's the fire?" And they said, "Oh, no fire, just haze, just haze." And right away I said, no, it's not just haze. It's got to be it's smoke coming from Indonesia. And the experts on television were saying, no, that's too far away. It's just can't happen. And a couple of weeks later, they said, yeah, it's absolutely, it is the smoke coming from the fires from Malaysia and Indonesia. And here's Dutchsinse, 395,000 subscribers, and he puts out some long videos, I must say. Puts out some long videos, hour and a half, a little over an hour, 14 minutes. He has some interesting information about. There's been a lot of fires starting up in California near the fault zones over there on clear days, and he is suggesting that in fact the hot spots they're being created by heat coming up through these fissures, through the fault zones, and you can even get, sometimes you can get a heat signature from the satellite images. Here's another video over here about fires breaking out along the fault zone in California, up into Oregon, and even Washington, I think, even up into Canada, perhaps. Very, very interesting. And I believe he says the USGS doesn't. He's sent all of his information the way he predicts to USGS and other experts, and they said, no, you're crazy. You can't predict earthquakes that way. But I've been watching him for many months now when I get time, and he does a very good job of. And you will probably become a believer if you live anywhere near an earthquake zone. And he shows how the earthquakes also travel across different areas across the world. So if you live in Europe or Asia as well, he puts out earthquake alerts, and not just U.S. based, but he does a lot of talking about this area over in Asia and across the rest of the world, up through Italy, Greece, out into the Atlantic Ocean. Very interesting science. Anyway, this is his. He has a number of sites. He has a website. He has a Twitter site. A number of the other sites. YouTube site, and he uses this 3D map of talks about the deep earthquakes. And here, just yesterday, he was predicting earthquake increase due in the next 7 to 10 days. Major deep activity reforming now. What about a tsunami? And that was a concern as well, because these earthquakes down in the ocean can definitely create and have created many huge tsunamis that have killed tens of thousands of people around the world throughout history, even in the last decade. in this part of the world even. And storm surges definitely associated with storms and typhoons, hurricanes, that type of thing. A little bit of a picture there about how that happens. You want to think about that as you decide where you're going to live and how close you're going to live to the ocean. If a storm surge comes, is there a hill, a mountain that you can go up rather quickly, fairly close? There are a couple of sites, I think, that offer tsunami warnings, and in this particular case, there was no warnings given. And you can check those types of sites. Just do a search, this NOAA site, but I believe there are others as well. Anyway, it's good to be aware of those types of risks, and definitely check those sites when you have something like that happening within your region of the world. Very interesting science. Anyway, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.